This is baseball, Major League Baseball. And this is Mel Allen saying, get set for baseball personalities. Swing into baseball action. Catch on to the excitement of another big week in baseball. Let's bring it all home as Major League Baseball presents This Week in Baseball. This is the immortal Cy Young, who won 511 games, more than any other pitcher. 73 years ago, Cy Young set another record, and that was the concern of this man, 22-year-old Dennis Eckersley of the Cleveland Indians. The record, 23 consecutive innings pitched without allowing a base hit, and Eckersley was set to challenge. Eckersley faced the Seattle Mariners last week on the crest of an astonishing hot streak, a no-hitter in his last start, coupled with 7 1/3 hitless innings in the start before that. Everyone was on edge as Eckersley needed just 6 2/3 hitless innings to equal that record. The tension mounts, but somehow he kept the streak going. Of course, some outs were tougher than others. 5th inning, still no hits. Dennis Eckersley is just 4 outs away and 73 years away from the immortal ghost of Cy Young. Now it's just 3 outs away, and don't think Eckersley wasn't counting. Nope, that's not a hit, just an error. Doesn't count. Pressure is on the entire Indian team as well as the pitcher. There's a drive deep to right field, and it's caught. That brings the count down to 2 outs. Now to the 6th inning. The batter, Rupert Jones. Eckersley working carefully, eagerly, anxiously, and the pitch. There's a drive to right center. Rick Manning going back, and he runs out of room by about 5 feet. 5 feet, 2 outs, 73 years. Call it what you will. The brilliant effort fell short, and Cy Young's record still rests secure in the record books. But for young Dennis Eckersley, he still has time to make history. In Minnesota, there's been talk of hitting records, which means talk about Rod Carew. Actually, the talk starts with Ty Cobb, the Georgia Peach, who once won 9 straight batting titles, 12 out of 13. And of course, Ted Williams, the last major leaguer to hit over 400, 36 years ago. Carew just missed getting his 5th straight batting title last year and just might hit 400 someday. Baseball's perfect master with the bat. Show us how it's done, master. He makes it look so easy, like swatting summer flies. And Carew can really fly around those bases, too, in case you didn't know. Carew leads the league in batting average, hits, triples, and pitcher's nightmares. Once again, master. But the Twins have other hitters who make pitchers toss and turn, like Lyman Bostock, Carew's most ardent disciple. A surprise leader in the American League West, the Twins' outstanding hitting has been bolstered by good pitching, like Dave Goltz, who beat the Red Sox in a series opener last weekend. Everyone knew the Twins would get good hitting, but few thought they'd get good pitching. That element has helped them stay around the top of the American League's Western Division. The Red Sox knew they needed some pitching to stay near the top of the American League East, and they got it the next day from Bill Lee. Lee proved he was really recovered from a bad shoulder injury. And what better way to prove it than to hold Rod Carew hitless? The way Carew's been hitting recently, that practically is a miracle. But with the kind of bats the Twins have, a pitcher at times can use a few miracles from his teammates. Dan Ford belts it to deep center. That ball is going. Fred Lynn trying to get it. Man alive, how about that? A sensational catch. Fred Lynn. Look at Bill Lee. He says, all right, man, I'm a believer. And Bernie Carbo says, hey, me too. What makes it all the harder to believe is that Fred Lynn was just coming off an injury himself. He's got a questionable ankle, but that didn't stop him from also getting two big hits to give Boston the offense they needed to win the game. Lynn's performance for that afternoon had to get him a few more all-star votes. Bill Lee finished the day by allowing only one run against the Twins. The Boston Red Sox continued to keep pace in the American League East. At the same time, the Twins are concerned with a team that's been keeping pace in their division, the Chicago White Sox. Record crowds came out to Comiskey Park last weekend to see the White Sox get in step with the Yankees. The Sox are full of rollicking hitting rhythm, which moves to the beat of their bat cracks. Their tune, a Major League leading .293 team batting average. And the music to Chicago fans' ears is right on the score sheet, culminating in a crescendo of runs. White Sox hitting was too much for Billy Martin's Yankees in the first game. The Sox won it 9-5, but Billy knows his boys can hit too, which they quickly did last Saturday. And that's a White Sox problem. They hit, but so do the other guys. Their bullpen has been known to get early calls. The Yanks keep upping their lead. Better step on it, fellas. Sox manager Bob Lemon has to wish he was still pitching. They could sure use his great sinker ball. The Yankee lead didn't worry the fans much, not with guys like Richie Zisk in the lineup. The fans like to set a target for Zisk in left field. But watch, he overshoots it. It's going, and gone from Comiskey Park up onto the roof. That hasn't been done in 4 years. But don't bet Zisk, who leads the majors in homers, won't do it again soon. In the bottom of the ninth, score 8-6, Sparky Lyle comes in to face Zisk with 2 on, 2 out. Zisk ready. Lyle pitches. Zisk slams it, but right at Roy White for the final out. The Yankees got away with one there, but don't stop the music yet. The next day, the Yankees were out to show the fans why they're called the Bronx Bombers. Reggie Jackson. What a wallop. Greg Nettles. George Siebert. George who? George Siebert, a rookie who slammed his first Major League homer. He intends to be a Bronx Bomber, too. Despite the power, the Yankees barely escaped with a win and had to be happy to leave the Windy City and all this crazy jazz. Last weekend in Pittsburgh, a pennant race was tightening in the National League East. The Cubs, trying to protect first place from the Pirates, split 2 games with them and took an early lead in the last one, as you watch Manny Trio score a run. Then the Pirates began to flex their muscles. Willie Stargell is one reason the Pirates have long been known as the Lumber Company. And boy, was he hitting on Sunday. 2 other lumber men are on first and second, Al Oliver and Dave Parker. Pittsburgh lumber is solid grain, as men like Stargell prove again and again. That double knocked in 2 runs to give the Pirates a nice 5-2 lead over the Cubs. But this year, manager Chuck Tanner has added something else to the Pirate attack: lightning. There goes Frank Tavares. He leads the league in steals, which is why they call him the Pittsburgh Stealer. But the Cubs played this game tough, and so the Pirates needed more than lumber and lightning to creep closer to first, like defense from Rennie Stennett. And to really tighten the noose, the Pirates needed the goose, Rich Gossage. Gossage came in to save a tight 5-4 victory. So stay loose, Goose. The Pirates will need you all summer in this tension-packed pennant race. So far, the New York Mets have been out of the pennant race. Things couldn't keep going the way they've been going, so the Mets made the change that usually happens when your club is in last place. Here's General Manager Joe McDonald.
We're here to announce that Joe Torre is our manager for tonight, succeeding Joe Frazier. Joe Torre has signed a 2-year contract with us. That is, he will manage for us this year, and then he has signed a contract for the 78 and 79 season.
I was wondering how the Mets were going to get me to retire, and I think they found the way.
Joe Torre, the player, had become Joe Torre, the manager. As a player, Torre was one of the best. An all-star 9 times, played for 3 different teams, was the National League's MVP in 1971. More important, he was a man liked and respected by almost everyone. As a player, he gave little thought to managing, but when the time came, everyone agreed he was the right man for the job, even Joe.
Well, I feel I've had enough, major league experience and under enough managers and playing for different type ball clubs. And just to know a new breed of player today and knowing what makes players tick, and just hopefully that I can have the respect of the players where they'll appreciate what I tell them, or not order them to do, but just ask of them to do. And I think pride takes over from there.
I think it's an excellent choice, and I'm sure it's going to be the start of a good career for him.
I think this is a positive step, making Joe Torre the manager, because he's an aggressive type player and he wants to win, and maybe he can change a few things around it because we are a better club than we've produced on the field.
As soon as Torre was hired, the Mets did start to perform. A manager puts a lineup out and hopes the club will hit. Suddenly, the Mets were hitting against the Expos. It's hard to pinpoint what difference a manager can make, but Torre made some quick decisions. One was to have the Mets run, including Dave Kingman and Bud Harrelson, back to his old game. Torre used another managerial favorite, the squeeze play, and more managerial influence, knowing when to take the pitchers out. Skip Lockwood is called in. He relieved 2 games against the Expos just at the right time. And when it was all over in Montreal, the Mets manager Joe Torre had won his first 3 games. Following that, the aggressive Mets came home to take 3 out of 4 from the Philadelphia Phillies. This collision between Dave Kingman and Davy Johnson came in the 10th inning of a Sunday doubleheader sweep. Not a polite play, it broke Johnson's nose, but it shows the Mets' aggressiveness. It also gave manager Joe Torre a chance to send up player Joe Torre as a pinch hitter. And how the fans of Shea Stadium loved that. The Phillies weren't about to let a manager beat them, however, and so they gave Torre an intentional pass. All the same, the winning run was soon to cross the plate as Tom Underwood threw a wild pitch. Casey Stengel, the first Mets manager, once said he couldn't have done it without the players. But sometimes it seems that the players can't do it without the manager. For now, anyway, Shea Stadium fans would agree with that. Around the major leagues this week, we found a few oddities and entities which we figured you might enjoy. Did you know Pete Rose likes to hurdle? Well, here he goes after a foul pop. Take it away, Pete. He doesn't get the ball, but it's an Olympic effort of sorts. Try this one. It's grounded up the middle. Joe Morgan gloves it, but Dave Concepcion throws it. No, that wasn't a double play, just real teamwork. Joe Morgan realized he couldn't make the throw, so he lets Concepcion give it a try. Pretty quick thinking by both of them, even though the runner beat it out. Well, anything's worth a try, right, Joe? Catch this one from Houston. Steve Yeager of the Dodgers has Joe Ferguson of the Astros trapped off second and mesmerized. Ferguson and Yeager used to be teammates. Could be they played too much poker together. Wonder who was better at bluffing. Out in Pittsburgh, Willie Stargell is saying, no bluff at all. A first baseman has to have a glove. Yes, but what happened to the one you had, Willie? Well, let's take a look. He sets to catch the ball, but it breaks through the webbing, and that can break a player's heart, losing a favorite glove like that. Moving on to Kansas City, a way to lose a ball game that really hurts. The Orioles leading 5-3. The Royals have the bases loaded, no one out, bottom of the ninth. Tippy Martinez is wondering how he'll get out of this. What he'd really love is a triple play, but that isn't likely. Or is it? Well, let's see. Watch. There's a fly to right. One out as a run scores. The throw-in cut off by shortstop Mark Belanger. He spots Paddock off first. Fred, you're dead, Fred. 2 outs. Belanger spots Davy Nelson between third and home. And look, it is 3 outs. How about that? A triple play to end the ball game. You could call that the play of the week. But here are a few other suggestions. Try this. Base hit? No. Dwayne Kuiper, the Indians, made that one a Kuiper keeper. Hats off to Dwayne Kuiper. But, man, you can put yours back on. How about another one? Chris Spire belts one to center field. Lee Mazzilli races back, still going, and stabs the ball while he spikes the wall. And here it is again, if you didn't believe it the first time. May seem that Mazzilli is using a little hot dog here, but his leap was the only way he could avoid crashing into the fence. You might want to vote for that, but we think you'll agree that the play of the week is one you saw earlier. Maybe we should call this play by Fred Lynn the play of the month, or a play for all seasons. Now watch. Man alive. We believe you caught it, Fred, but we just don't know how. Bill Lee looks like he could watch that play forever. Well, maybe just one more time. How about playing it again, Fred? Go, man, go! And that's This Week in Baseball. Now, we'll be back next week with more of the plays and the men who make them. In the meantime, friends, how about taking in a ball game? Baseball has never been lively, and the summer fun has only begun.